Welcome to Airwave. Airwave is a conversation hosted by me, Morgan Page, where music and technology converge to tell the stories behind the artists and the architects of creativity and technology. Radio is where I first discovered electronic music in the countryside of Vermont, and music and technology provided the path forward. Airwave is an exploration of how people make their art and how technology plays an essential role in the process. The show is largely conversational, but doesn't shy away from going deep and technical in the process.
The first time I played California Love live in front of people was with Just Blaze, which was incredible. I played California Love, and the crowd just went crazy. I always imagine, and you see on TV this aha discovery moment, like this is the answer, the breakthrough, I've created time travel or something. But, if time travel is really created, it'll probably be, you'll be able to move 1 second into the future.
All right, welcome to Airwave. My next guest is Bosco Cante. He hails from Oakland, California, and he is the pioneer of the Electrospit Talkbox, a whole new way to create that talkbox sound with a thing that actually you wear on your neck to create this crazy sound. Now, he's actually won a Grammy for his work with Kanye West. He's played on records by Dua Lipa and many more. You've heard his playing. You may not know the name, but you will definitely appreciate the technique and the product that he's created with a successful Kickstarter campaign for Electrospit. So we talk a lot about the history of the talkbox, how he developed the product and how he built the prototypes, all his challenges along the way, and you're going to hear him play it right in front of me. So enjoy. This is Airwave with Morgan Page. Airwave is brought to you by RME Audio. Innovative, user-friendly, and high-quality digital audio solutions, RME offers a comprehensive range of audio interfaces, converters, and mic preamps, all based around its unique and innovative core technologies. Multi-platform connectivity across Windows and Mac OS and iOS class compliance has earned RME a global reputation for providing support to all users on all platforms. Visit rme-usa.com to learn more.
That's one of the powerful things about an app is that you can take something that takes a lot of different steps to do and just combine it into one action where you just press this button and it happens and it feels like magic. And kind
of like a macro, yeah.
And then you come
totally.
Yeah, basically.
So in the past, what did people do when they wanted to play chords? Because it was traditionally with Talkbox, it was monophonic, and you'd send a sawtooth out.
That's right.
How do people do chord? Do they just multi-track it to get the harmonies?
It's just like recording a vocalist, a singer. You want a harmony. You got to either have a few of them, and it's not likely that you'll have a few people playing Talkbox at once. So you're gonna have to record track by track and put the harmonies down, and just takes a long time. Sounds awesome, but there is another way to do it now.
I was always wondering, because with like Troutman and guys like that, where they'd be performing live and there'd be chords, but that would just be pre-played, or is that like a pre-played backing track?
Either backing tracks. Now Zap, they actually had like 3 people up there on the stage playing Talkbox at the same time. So sometimes they would just do live harmonies, and they still do. So
wow,
yeah, it's pretty. Wow. Take some skill and coordination and practice.
So take me back to like the early beginnings. I mean, even before Electrospit, but way back, like Alvino Ray, these guys that were early pioneers. They wanted to kind of imitate, was it pedal steel, or they wanted to imitate some of these Hawaiian sounds. Where did all of this sort of human expressive origins, where did those roots come from with the Talkbox?
The roots of the Talkbox. Well, one of the oldest videos that I've seen it's actually the Sonobox, and you have these guys off stage playing the saxophone and the guitar and different instruments and piping it through these speakers, and they go through this guy's neck, and he's on stage, and they have a puppet. Doing it's kind of weird.
That's the most surreal video. I was watching it thinking, like, am I imagining this happening? It's so ahead of its time and so surreal.
Yes, but that technology I think that technology turned into how do you make that more portable, because that particular the Sonobox wasn't loud enough, it wasn't portable enough to play in a live situation, and it required two people. You had to have one person playing the instrument and another person holding these speakers on their neck, and it evolved into the bag, and then which was a speaker in a bag with the tube that came out, and then eventually into the talk box, which I think it's don't give me the line up here, but this this is in the 40s or the 50s that this was.
I was gonna say, I don't even know the first person that put the tube in to the box.
Right, yeah. I actually don't know either. but Bob Heil was one of the first people to commercialize it and make it a little more accessible. And then Stevie Wonder is one of the first people that I'm aware of that was using it. And he wrote, before he even made any records with it, he wrote that "Tell Me Something Good" for Chaka Khan and Rufus. And it was originally written as a complete talk box song, and then she covered it and turned it into a vocal song.
Wow. So you, and with your history, how did you get into music, and how did the talk box come into your world?
So I grew up breakdancing, and I won a set of turntables in the breakdance contest when I was in middle school. And the top music that we would breakdance and pop to was More Bounce to the Owls, Heartbreaker, Freakazoid, all of these songs that had talk box or synthesized voices. And I didn't realize at the time, but it was, I was being conditioned to, and this is just the music that I grew up loving, was this talk box sound. And fast forward to producing music and at USC. I went to USC. I got a full ride scholarship in Los Angeles. I grew up in Portland, and started producing music out there. Got a record deal with Atlantic Records, and the first piece of gear that I bought was a talk box. I always wanted a talk box. Got it home, couldn't figure out how to make it work. It didn't sound like Roger at all. But luckily, a friend of mine, a collaborator guy named Papa LQ, he was cool with this producer named DJ Battlecat, who just happened to be up the street at Sound Castle working with the Dog Pound. And he said, hey, I can show you how to do it. Checked out Battlecat in the studio. He told me where to place the tube, just some of the basics of how to play talk box, and I was off to the races. I started using it on like all of my productions at the time, and just really, I love playing it. It added a unique sound. People started to know me for playing the talk box. I put it all over E40's Element of Surprise record. I did songs with Tyrese. I did a song with Tupac and the Outlaws. I did a song with Limp Bizkit. I just put it on all of my records, and it became a signature sound for me. And
so you're known as the talk box guy. Like when they say we need talk box, let's get Bosco on this. Definitely.
And I didn't really set out to do that. It just happened. It was always fun to add it. I would create a song and then add some talk box, and it would always take it to that next level. And those a lot of times were the songs that got picked. And then I started to become known as the talk box guy. And another friend of mine, a guy named Mike Karen, who was an A&R at Atlantic Records. He was doing a song with T.I., who he had just signed, and he hired Kanye West, a new producer, to produce that song. And it was a remake of I Want to Be Your Man. And Roger had recently passed, and they needed some talk box, so they called me for that record. That went great, turned into a relationship with Kanye, and he asked me to come and be on his record in New York. So we co-wrote the Kanye's Workout Plan out in New York. That became the third single off of his Grammy-winning album, and that was a big deal.
Wow. What was your early setup like? What was the exact keyboard and everything you used?
I mean, I went through a couple of a bunch of different iterations. You know, my first setup was I had the Heil Talkbox. I had a Furman amp, like 100-watt amp, and I had sampled a Sawtooth Wave out of my JD990, a Roland JD990, into my ASR10, and because the ASR10 had the right portamento legato mode that the JD990 didn't have, and that was my sound for like 5 years or something when I started. In a lot of the early records, that's the exact setup.
Wow. And so, do you have to? I guess for people listening that maybe they haven't done a manual setup with a Talkbox, that is it the DX100 or the DX7 is the kind of it gives you the right harmonics just with the Sawtooth Wave through it. Is there a reason why that's always been the go-to?
So the originally Roger, popularized his sound. He was using the Model D and the Moog Model D. And basically, you want to use a Sawtooth Wave because when you're playing the Talkbox, what you're doing is you're putting a formant filter onto the signal that's coming out of your mouth. So you need a very rich harmonic sound, so you have something to work with. If you have like a sine wave or something that's very dark, then you can't change it with your mouth, so you can't understand the words. Sine wave works great. A distorted guitar, a Sawtooth Wave works great. A distorted guitar works great, and you can really understand it. But that's why a Sawtooth is so popular. The Moog Model D is probably the best, but it wasn't portable. It wasn't reliable in the sense of being in tune. It wasn't programmable in terms of having transposition or different options on the sound. So what that meant was when Roger was touring, it wasn't ideal, and they were actually running out of Model Ds. They were hard to find, so if they broke on the road, they would be stuck. So they transitioned completely to the DX100, mostly for convenience and reliability, but not necessarily for sound.
Huh.
But
that's so interesting.
Yeah, but what came out of that is he ended up using it on some huge records like California Love, and it turned into a sound that people wanted. It was you want to sound like California Love, you can grab a DX100.
And were they doing any additional processing, like once they're in their studio or live? Was he sending it into any other pedals or just reverb and delays, or not even that?
As far as I know, just reverb and delays, just treated like a vocal on the stage. Yeah. So it kind of depended on the engineer at the house at the time, but they weren't sending it through pedals. I mean, directly. It was just going right into the microphone. So you're coming out of your DX100 or your Moog Model D into the amplifier, and that goes into the Talkbox, and then that goes into your mouth, and then you're going singing right into a mic, or not actually singing, you're mouthing words, and it's being recorded by a regular vocal mic.
I think that's what I'd never realized when I set it up for the first time with the Talkbox. Was like, oh yeah, you got to capture it with a mic. Like,
right.
For some reason you think, and probably a lot of people think, that it's going to go, you're DIing, you're going directly in somehow, but you got to capture it.
I can't tell you how many times when I'm on stage about to perform, the engineer comes like, well, give me your outputs. What kind of outputs do you need? And I'm like, I just need a mic. He's like, yeah, here's the mic, but how do I get out of your keyboard? Well, I'm not. I just need the mic.
You're just a
It's coming out of my mouth. That's right. It's coming out of my mouth.
Yeah, it's so interesting. And so people, they go for this traditional sound. Have you seen people using it in really unconventional ways, like beyond that sort of West Coast sound or the Zap sound. Are you seeing people use it just as a filter in itself, as a way to spice things up, or what else have you been seeing?
I've seen you do it, which is really cool. I mean, it's definitely used in all kinds of different ways. I mean, it's a West Coast sound, but Kraftwerk and Daft Punk used it obviously on Stronger, Faster, and a bunch of records after that. And it's popular in all kinds of different music, rock music. So, people are definitely experimenting and using it as backgrounds. People are sampling it and turning it backwards, like Loyalty for Kendrick Lamar. So, I mean, it's a great sound that can be used in a lot of different ways.
I think that the polyphonic mode, just being able to do chords with it, is a total game changer. I mean, it's one thing to do monophonic leads, but to have chords and using that as background vocals, even band passing that behind the lead vocal, like Zedd does. I love that technique. I know I was using it as just almost like its own plugin as a filter to just, I don't remember if it was the headphone out of my DAW. I was basically looping stuff out of the DAW tracks in there and putting it back in the recording.
You can essentially turn any sound into words, or even if it's not words, oohs and ahs and just it's super fun just to connect to, to be able to take a sound that any kind of sound and just filter it instantly with your mouth. It's just super fun.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be a synthesizer, it could be a violin, it could be, piano, it could be someone else's voice. There's all kinds of things you can do.
Yeah, I never thought of that, bumping someone else's voice into
and changing the words.
Yeah. It's weird because I feel like the brain picks up on something about this human effect, where every time I used it as a filter to filter guitars or synths or anything else, just your brain kind of locks onto it. It's just something. It's kind of like ear candy, because I think it's something built into your brain that it's sounding like something's communicating.
Sounding like communication. It's sounding human. So yeah, your brain says I need to pay attention, but then it's not exactly human. So then that adds like a little intrigue or curiosity. Like, I hear this sound. It sounds like human and speech, and I should be listening and trying to communicate, but it's not quite human. So what's going on? What is?
It's like Uncanny Valley almost, but in a good way.
Yes. Yeah, totally. Uncanny Valley.
So for people that are watching and listening, describe it. So you have these projectors. So it's working. Basically, the idea is there's no tube. The tube is just clunky and kind of unhygienic, and this is the modern evolution of the TalkBox, is the Electrospit.
Exactly. I mean, it's in telling the story, it reminds me of the experience that Roger had. Was he couldn't take this Moog Model D around on the road because it was out of tune and it was hard to travel with. So he moved to the Yamaha DX100 because it was more convenient. I had the same experience, when I wanted to perform live, like at the American Music Awards with Kanye. I couldn't perform with it. It wasn't portable. It always has to be plugged in. So I said, let's make it portable, mobile. Let's get rid of this tube so I can share it with people and show them how to use it, so I don't have to worry about the tube getting clogged. And I'm going to use it with my phone, so I can have stuff like chords and different sounds, and I can have I can program scales. I can add pressure to add vibrato, just all of these different controller options that you can add with technology and make it easier to use and more fun.
Yeah, that's awesome. So take me to the early developings of this. Did you have a vision in your mind? You just thought there had to be a better way to do TalkBox, or how did it start?
So I was asked to apply to this accelerator called Zoo Labs in Oakland, And Zoo Labs is an accelerator where they take bands and music groups and teach them Silicon Valley startup techniques and introduce them to technology mentors and marketing mentors. And we went through this 2-week residency, my team, and we did this one workshop called Futures Thinking, where you look at what's happened in the past 5 years in your industry. You look at the trends and how they got to where you are today, and then try to project them out 5 years in the future. And one of the trends that we really zeroed in on was that music production had gone from being in the big studio to the desktop computer to the laptop computer, and we saw it going to the mobile phone. So we said to ourselves, how can we make this TalkBox work in the future with the mobile phone? And it kind of informed our design ideas for what we wanted to do with it. And we started with a bunch of different really simple prototypes that you put on your neck. This one is rapid prototyping is important. You want to just get started. So this is made with PVC and parts from Ace Hardware. The first prototypes did not sound good. They didn't work well, but they did something enough to be fun and to be interesting. And we had this event where we wanted to get some customer feedback, from real people, and it was around Christmas. So we put the hardware around people's necks and we tied it on with a Christmas sock. And you got the sock as a reward after the event was over. But people loved it. We had pre-recorded songs like Christmas carols and stuff, and it was amazing. And we knew that we had something. 50 prototypes later, it's really starting to sound better. I was able to get it into the hands of Teddy Riley, a version that I had put together that was that went around your neck. It sounded similar to the version that we have now, and Teddy was blown away, and I was blown away that he was blown away. we got it on some records, a record with Skrillex, Big Boy, and Phonogram called Drum Machine.
Mm-hmm.
That was the first major release that had the Electrospit on it. And then we did something with David Guetta. I showed it to him, and he loved it. And I used it on Bruno Mars and David Guetta, Versace on the Floor remix.
Nice. So what was when you're doing these rapid prototyping? What was the thing were these incremental improvements, or was there something you changed?
Oh, yeah.
That, was there one thing that was like, oh my God, we're using this type of plastic, and then it changed completely?
Yeah. I always imagine, and you see on TV this aha discovery moment, like this is the answer, the breakthrough, I've created time travel or something. But if time travel is really created, it'll probably be you'll be able to move 1 second into the future,
right?
And then 10 years later you'll be able to move 1 minute into the future, and then 20 years later you'll be so it was really incremental. And it didn't work, then it worked just a little bit, then I would maybe this piece of plastic is too thick, so I changed the thickness of the plastic. Oh, it sounds a little bit better. Oh, this particular piece is too tight, and I need to loosen it up and change the tolerances. And okay, oh, this isn't quite airtight, I need to make it more airtight. Oh, that's too airtight, it doesn't. So it was all of these little improvements, but over the course of 5 years, making constant improvements, and now the sound compared to the prototype is just night and day. It's like, it is that aha, oh my God, we've done it, we created this breakthrough, but it didn't happen. It's probably like the music business, overnight success.
Right.
10 years later. I'm sure.
I think it's funny. I feel like the aha moment thing is made because you have to make a story compelling quickly, and you got to gloss over all the incremental improvements.
It totally was incremental. and it's still incremental. Like even today, I have all these ideas of how to improve it, and as I implement those, it'll just get better and better. But having the experience of going through, seeing where something can become so much better with those incremental improvements, it gives you confidence to like, okay, let's just keep pushing. We can make this a little bit better here, a little bit better there, and we'll look up, and it'll be a whole new instrument that's just, blows our mind.
What do you have planned next with the design? Is it form factor stuff you're working on, or more on the software side?
Right now, we're really focused on the software, adding features like the polyphonic and making it much more, or just easier and easier to play, adding different sounds and making it so you can customize the sound more. We're adding a feature that allows you to sound like more human, I'd say. I mean, I think one of the coolest things about the Talkbox is that it doesn't sound human. It sounds, how it sounds. Synthetic, yeah. But we're also messing around with other kinds of voices, essentially. Other than that, just I'm not sure. I have a lot of ideas on how to improve it, how to make it lighter and better and faster, stronger.
Yeah.
But it's going to be those incremental improvements, and we're still at the beginning of launching this product. We've only delivered to most of our Kickstarter backers, and we'll be finishing that up like in the next 2 weeks, and then we'll really start deliveries to more people and start doing more marketing and getting into the hands of more musicians. So we're still at the beginning for this version, and I feel like we've just scratched the surface of what can be done with it. I've barely even made music with it, so.
Yeah, you've been too busy getting the orders out and just perfecting it.
Yeah,
that's right. Are you seeing it mainly focused for musicians and then expanding to more of a consumer thing?
Yes. I think that it was important for us, and it's important for me. I'm scratching my own itch with this instrument. I wanted to build the ultimate Talkbox and the ultimate synthesizer to go with it in the app, and that appeals to other producers, and that's the market that I really understand. And also, I think of like consumers, like the mass market. They're looking to artists to, what's cool, what's new, what's innovative. And we want to be at the cutting edge of that. And I think the consumer market will follow naturally as people get out there and make amazing music with the instrument.
Yeah, because I wonder how it'll change as people, who have like an hour or two in their day, they come back from the day job and they just want to have fun and make, enjoy music for the sake of music, not a career or trying to get tons of streams, like prosumer category almost.
Yeah, that's definitely something that like probably the next version of the ESX1 or the ESX2, it may be aimed at a more broad market, and we'll add features that make it easier for that market to use, and maybe it'll be pre-recorded songs and other ease of use kinds of features in a different price point.
Is there an arpeggiator in it yet, or is it mainly focused on the chord mode?
There isn't, but that's an opportunity for Morgan to try something new. That would be dope. I can play like an arpeggiator, and then try. There's all kinds of things you can do, and
I want the Bosco technique in a box, basically. I want put your skills in there, yeah.
I mean, yeah, that's basically what that's what this is, and we're getting better and better at delivering that. The first part of that is being able to pronounce the words, and that's one of the hardest things to learn with the Talkbox is how can you talk with this tube in your mouth, but with the Electrospit you don't have a tube in your mouth, so you're automatically a lot closer to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
To the Bosco technique. And then the next part is having the right sound. And, you know, we give you my favorite sound. You can tweak it and change it however you want, but you're starting out with something that I really love. And a lot of people enjoy it on a lot of records.
And people should know too that the mic choice makes a big difference, right? So it may not be,
Oh, yeah.
you don't have to have an expensive mic, but it's mainly dynamic mics like a SM58
Yes.
or what do you recommend? Is there like
Yes.
a top 3 mics to use?
I would say my favorites are the Beta, Shure Beta 57A, the Telefunken M80, and then the Shure SM58. You know, kind of maybe not probably in that order. The Beta is really it's got more, it's brighter, and it's got more volume than the other mics. The M80 just sounds so smooth and clean, and I love the sound of the M80. And the SM58 is definitely solid. Sounds good. You have to add some high end. To all of those mics, you need to add a little high end to really get the sound like, you know, classic records like California Love and stuff.
I was experimenting with you know, those Cloud Lifter boxes, and I didn't realize that you can plug an SM58 into the Cloud Lifter, and it sounds like a completely different mic. It sounds way better. It might sound almost too good for a talk box because I feel like you can, you know, you don't want a normal. People don't usually use condensers, right? Because they're picking up the air conditioner and the like with something loud. Like you want something focused and present, right?
Yeah, that's the reason you want the dynamic mic. The number one reason is because of the pickup pattern. Is it's cardioid or supercardioid, and it's really focused on what's coming out of your mouth. And when you're performing with the talk box, you want to be really close to the mic because you can take advantage of the proximity effect, which makes the low frequency sounds much more present. And it's, you know, if you're playing really low notes, oh yeah, you want that proximity effect, baby. and you just can't get that with the condenser mic. You also can't get it if you're not close to a condenser. If you're using a condenser and you're far away, you're going to be playing these low notes and it's just still going to sound thin. And you know, you want that sound to really hit and not be just be, you know, in your face.
Are there any plans to have a built-in mic version?
Definitely.
It seems like a Bane mask. I'm just picturing that.
All right. Wow. Yeah. That is you know, I've definitely experimented with different microphones, and you know, it's the next evolution of how do you just make it easier and easier and require less other parts. You know, if you can take the perfect mic and build that right into the product, and you know, you just take it out of the box and start playing. So I mean, I envision a microphone and speakers being part of it at some point, but you know, we're not there yet.
One step at a time.
Dreams.
That seems like a natural evolution, like one less thing to have to put in a stand or to have handheld.
Right. And then you will give the house front of the house your output, because you know, you'll have this whole system, and then hopefully it can be wireless. So you just tell them your frequency, and then and then send you. Then you just roam around the stage and sound like Roger Troutman.
Yeah, and I do like. I mean, for people listening to that maybe can't see the video, you're holding it in a way almost like, what's that kind of portable? There's that synth that has a tube, and you can press the keys down, but you're holding it almost like a trumpet. You're holding it. Melodica, yeah. You thinking
of like a melodica? Yeah, I've definitely experimented with a lot of different ways to hold the phone and play. And at first, it was really a challenge. Like I would go play live, and the mic stand would be wobbly, and I'm trying to play, and then I knocked the mic stand over. It was. If you look at our Kickstarter video, you can see. The first time I played California Love live in front of people was with Just Blaze, which was incredible.
Yeah.
You know, I play Cap. Let me see. Cap. Go up an octave. California love. And the crowd just went crazy. But right after that, the mic stand was loose and it kind of fell down.
Mic drop.
Mic drop. A half of a mic drop, and it wasn't the right kind. But it, you know, it was still cool. Everybody was so hyped. But I started thinking, how can I get a better mic stand? How can I, change the way that I set the mic? And then what I came up with was, heck, I can just hold the mic and the phone in one hand and play it. And then the other thing is, I want people to see what I'm doing. Like, one of the purposes of playing live is so people can experience, they can see like the virtuosity and you know, this guy's just playing on the keys. And if I'm just looking at a phone, you know, looking down, and people are like, well, what is he checking his Instagram during the show? I mean, what's going on? No, I want them to see me actually, you know, playing the keys, yeah, and I fast my fingers are going. You know, I want them to see that. So
they're seeing the fretboard, essentially.
Yes, exactly. You're seeing the fretboard. It's just like I'm up there ripping on a guitar or something. I have it up. I usually turn to the side so people can really see what's happening. And it's just part of the show,
yeah.
Part of the performance.
Yeah, it's a great technique. So, and are these all made in the U.S. now? It's not overseas? Have you transitioned everything over, especially with current situation?
Yeah, so when we went to manufacture, we were originally going to manufacture everything in China. And it was the end of last year. And some of our suppliers were running late with their parts. Some of the components weren't going to arrive, and we were running into Chinese New Year, which would have delayed us like 2 months, and that was in February. So, and I had just gone through the experience of building 50 units by hand for our VIP investors. So the people who invested in the company at the end of last year got, in addition to their investment, they got an ES61 Talkbox. And after building 50 by hand, I said, you know what? We can build these here. I can build, these, and I can get a team together. So we went to Zoo Labs, and they let us use the warehouse, and we set up an assembly line, and we started building them in January. And what was funny is that in January, as coronavirus started to appear in China, we were thinking how lucky we were that we missed coronavirus by manufacturing in Oakland. And little did we know,
wow.
a few months later, or 2 months later, we were going to be completely shut down in Oakland. But at least we were able to build, more than half of our inventory before we got shut down. We were able to go out to Atlanta and win the Guthman International Musical Instrument Competition. We took first place in the People's Choice there, and that was an amazing experience. And our sales really took off after that, and that's like the Grammys or the Pulitzer Prize of musical instruments. So that was an honor. It was kind of a huge letdown that everything got shut down a week after. But
what's it like running a Kickstarter campaign? Like, if you start from zero and you start with like a compelling trailer, is it is it a ton of work, that whole process?
It was a ton of work. It took a lot of setup, and we actually, I'm going to say, we were going to launch our Kickstarter in a few months for 4 years. Like right when we came out of Zoo Labs in 2014, we said, what, we're going to launch a Kickstarter at the end of this year. We're going to fund this thing. And, we weren't ready. We were still working on the product. We were getting our plan together. And this next year happened, and we're in the same position. 2018, we were out of money, number one. We had spent everything we had developing the product. And we also, so that was the downside, and meant that we were going to do a Kickstarter now, or this is going to be over. And the other side of it was, I had done I had arranged a partnership with Native Instruments to use the ESX1 in the video promoting their new Machine 3. I had a deal with IK Multimedia to do some video with them. So we knew we were going to have some promotion coming together at the same time as we were launching our campaign. A friend of mine, Fingers, who is also a talk boxer, introduced me to Just Blaze, and he said, man, Just Blaze loves technology. I think he would love this thing. Sure enough, he did love it. He shared, our the talk box and our the Electrospit and our video right after we launched our Kickstarter, and he got like 100,000 views.
Wow.
On that thing, and it was huge. So Kickstarter, we met Kickstarter at the Maker Faire. We met with some of their reps and started to build a relationship with them before we launched our campaign. They gave us a ton of support. They really loved the project, so we got that Projects We Love badge. They released it as part of their newsletter. So all of those things added up to giving us a really big first week. We in like 48 hours we had our campaign funded, and we ended up going like 300% over our goal. But it was a ton. I mean, each one of those things that I'm talking about took a lot of setup. And in addition to creating, we had 20, all of these versions of the Kickstarter video itself. And, we had a fully produced, like we had videos completely ready to go. And we said, this isn't good enough. We started working with this team called Godspeed out of Canada. And they came out from Canada and shot here at Zoo Labs. And we finally got a video that we felt was really powerful. And it had all of the reactions from people like Teddy Riley, David Guetta, P-Thug of Chromeo, and those reactions were captured, randomly. I would meet people and show them the Electrospit, and they would go crazy, and we would capture that. And so that's video that was captured over like almost a year before the campaign. So ton of setup, ton of work in the middle of the campaign, just sharing it, calling people. It seems like, you just drop it on Kickstarter and it blows up. No,
they'll come to you. You build it, they'll come.
Yeah, no, it's definitely it's the better. We built a better mousetrap, but we still had to sell the mice.
Would you ever sell to a larger company? Have you had any interest from other brands?
We've had just initial talks really early, but I always use music business analogies because that's what I'm the most familiar with. And you have a band with a hot song, hot demo. Do you want to do a deal? Well, probably not. If you have the option to get that thing to the radio and start to see it blow up, your deal is going to be 10 times better, 100 times better. Same thing with this instrument. I think maybe we could, sell it for, 50,000 or 20,000, something small, could have in the past. But now that we have a bigger user base, we've developed it so much more. It's worth, 100 times more than it was then, and it'll be worth 100 times what it is now in the next couple of years after we develop the market. And I'm loving what I'm doing. I'm playing Talkbox. I'm showing some of my favorite musicians how to play an instrument that I created. I'm checking off my bucket list. Like I got to show this to Stevie Wonder, and he's playing his hits on it, and it's just amazing. Why do I want to stop that?
Exactly. Yeah. If you don't need it, and then I feel like, would a larger company want to see like a suite of different products, or do they go for something that's like one singular product?
I think it just depends on, what kind of deal. Like if a large company, they might want to license the product or buy the product if you have a sufficient, user base. But again, the money would be okay. But if you have shown the ability to develop multiple products, then maybe they want to buy your company and look at you as a source for new products over a long period of time. So obviously that would be much better if you're able to not only develop the products, but figure out how to market them and build all the infrastructure for selling the product, and that's worth more. It's just, it just depends on how much money you want to make and how much effort you want to put into building.
Yeah.
If you just want to come up with ideas and sell them, that there's a market for that.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh man, so what's next? You said you're more with the software development, maybe cosmetic changes to the unit or fit and finish. What's the biggest priority right now?
I think just getting it out there, like building a marketing machine and not just a marketing machine, but a system for helping people learn how to play an instrument. Like, it's one thing to get people guitars, but can you turn them into guitarists? So we're working on developing that system so when people buy it, they have resources on how to learn how to play it, on what to play. They have other people to play with. And I think the more developed that ecosystem is, the more valuable the instrument is. And my mission is not just to sell as many talk boxes as possible, but my mission is to help as many people play the instrument or an instrument and just, or to be recognized for their ability to produce. And it's just, how can I elevate all of these artists and give them tools to make more music? And so we're just at the beginning of that mission.
I can almost picture on the interface, like with karaoke, where there's the bouncing ball and the lyrics, where you're highlighting the notes to play. Because when I have the app, I'm almost like, all right, shoot, what do I play? California Love, that's all I can think of. And then,
right.
What's next? How do I jump into this and show somebody how amazing this is?
Yes. Totally. We don't have that, interface developed, but recently I shared a screen recording of playing a couple of songs. I think it was Don't Leave by Teddy Riley, and people really loved seeing that and seeing the notes. And it got me thinking, I need to release more material where people can see how do you actually play this song on the app.
Yeah.
And I think that, we should be releasing a song, every week or every day, and, have this huge library of songs that you can play and learn how to play. Because again, it doesn't matter if you have this instrument if you don't have anything to play on it.
Right. And to have that stream of additional purchases the user could buy once they've made that main purchase. Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah. So I think that's a big part of what's coming next.
Yeah. Great.
Is that content and learning, the learning system. How do you play the talk box? It sounds so nice.
Yeah, I feel like
that's what we want to do.
That's the future now, is like, how do you compress the learning so it's faster? And
right.
Whereas in the past, you spent 20 years mastering an instrument, and now maybe how do you master it in 6 months or a year? What changes? Right. How do you present that? How is that done in an app?
I love that as a challenge. Yeah. I take that as a challenge, and that's what I'll be working on. I can basically deconstruct my own journey. I mean, I've been playing TalkBox forever, but I've only been playing the app for about a year, and I'm pretty good on it. So I gotta I can look at some Tim Ferriss strategies for rapid learning and figure out how you can break down the TalkBox learning technique and really help people get better faster.
Yeah.
So yeah,
That'd be cool, like a little PDF guide. I could see that, like best practices, like over enunciate the vocals, use a dynamic mic. Yeah, what else? Yeah, give me the rundown again on it. So yeah, dynamic mic, vocals, placement.
Yeah. So there's a sweet spot. So when you put it on, it needs to be tight against your neck. It needs to be up against the bottom of your chin, and you have to drop your tongue because the sound is traveling through your neck. And if your tongue is at the top of your mouth, then it blocks the sound. So you get those three things right: the placement, how tight it is, and dropping your tongue. That's you're off, off to the races. Next, having the right mic, the dynamic mic, SM Shure Beta 57A or SM57, SM58, easy to find. And you want to be really close, like lips almost touching the microphone, and that gives you the best sound. You use the app. The app the sound is already optimized. You don't have to do anything. You just plug it into your iPhone and turn the volume all the way up.
All the way up.
Yep, all the way up, 100% on your iPhone, and so now you got the placement. You got your position in your technique as far as the tongue in the right place. You got the right mic. You have the right sound, and then the way that you make words, it's kind of like beatboxing. You have to emphasize the, but you're not actually using air from your lungs. You're just pressing it out of your mouth. So if I go pop, 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 that's what it sounds like. If I don't play the keys, it just sounds. Right. If I play the keys, pop, pop, pop. You have to kind of deconstruct each word because the tone from the synthesizer, which is in the app, provides the vowel sounds and you provide the consonants. So then you just start practicing, saying your ABCs and then A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P. You have to learn your ABCs first before you can.
Yeah.
But yeah, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And then, or you can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And that teaches you how to say each consonant and each vowel sound, and then you start practicing melodies. And then you have to know how to freestyle. When you mess up a melody, you just keep going. But yeah, you practice simple melodies, practice scales. You can practice with a metronome, so your timing, just like any instrument, your rhythm is important. And practicing with the metronome helps you learn how to play in time. So I practice with the metronome all the time, or practice to instrumentals, just freestyling. And another tip is when you're talking or singing, you change notes and you change tone with each syllable, and that helps you understand the words. So you don't just hold one note. You don't just hold one note down and then keep on talking, or it's kind of annoying and it's hard to understand. You change notes with each syllable, and it makes it easier to understand. And then you can also add vibrato, and that makes it even cooler. Yeah.
And with your setup right there too, you have a little amp that you just hear it here because we're not in a DAW, obviously. Do you just have a little?
I just have right now. I'm just using this mic instead of using the mic on my computer, like the built-in computer on the MacBook or on the camera. I'm using my Telefunken M80 as the mic, and it's going through an interface. I just have like an M Audio M Track 2x2, so it's not super high end or anything. And then that's just going directly into Zoom with no effects or anything.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, you don't need, and I have headphones on, so you don't necessarily need an amp, but it's a lot of fun with an amp too. I will say that if you're gonna play at home, it's more fun to play with an amp. Just like it's more fun to sing with an amp, it's more fun to play an electric guitar with an amp.
Yeah.
It's more fun to play the Talkbox.
There's something more direct with the amp that I love, where I'm always DIing guitar in and using amp modeling stuff, and then it's like, oh, just plug into an amp, and there's no latency, there's no drivers to install, no no updates.
Yes, and you get to feel the vibrations, you know, in your body. That's the way to go.
Yeah, that natural compression. Cool, man.
Yeah.
Well, I definitely be respectful of your time. I know you're a busy guy, and this has been great, man. Anything else you want to cover before we wrap up?
You know, you can find me at Electrospit, ElectroSpit on Instagram, and at electrospit.com. If you're interested in grabbing an ESX1, and on Instagram, you can see all of our latest videos and people, you know, playing and enjoying the ESX1, and we try to repost stuff that people are playing, so we can just uplift the whole Talkbox community. So whether you're playing an Electrospit Talkbox or some other Talkbox, we'd love to have you follow our page, and we'd love to repost what you're doing.
Great.
So,
all right, man. Thanks for taking the time. I appreciate it.
No, man. Thank you. Thanks for having me. I'll be checking out the podcast.
Yeah, man. And congrats on a successful release. It's an amazing product. So I got to get the new update. Try the chord mode some more. But it sounds amazing.
Yes. I'm anxious to see what you come up with. We definitely took some of your feedback, and you know, you were suggesting a certain layout for the chords, and it made more sense for us to put it in a rectangle than a circle, just because of space requirements. But that just definitely, your feedback helped us in thinking about how to do it. So I appreciate it.
Great. All right, the Bane mask is next.
Yeah, it's coming. It's coming. Hey, you know what?
You never know.
We got Corona. It's just like a 2-in-1.
Yeah, I didn't even think of that. Yeah, it's a communication device and a talk box. It's great.
Yeah. Because, you know, that's actually one of the issues with, you know, wearing a mask all the time. It makes it hard to talk. So
yeah,
I have to keep that in mind.
Yeah, there you go. Just send me a royalty, and we'll be all good.
Yeah. All right. We'll do the signature Morgan page.
All right, man. Congrats.
All right.
And good luck with everything.
Thank you.
I'll see you soon.
All right. Take care.
All right, so there you have it. Bosco Conte, the creator of Electrospit, the portable talk box that you wear around your neck. As I mentioned earlier, he's done some amazing records with Kanye West, Dua Lipa, and many more. So you're going to see this device popping up everywhere. It's really fun to use, really exciting to see a whole new way to play the talk box and get more creative with your records in the studio. So thank you for tuning in. I will see you next episode on Airwave. Thanks for tuning in. Airwave is brought to you by RME Audio. Innovative, user-friendly, and high-quality digital audio solutions, RME offers a comprehensive range of audio interfaces, converters, and mic preamps, all based around its unique and innovative core technologies. Multi-platform connectivity across Windows and Mac OS and iOS class compliance has earned RME a global reputation for providing support to all users on all platforms. Visit rme-usa.com to learn more.